In this video we will create this endless loop animation you just saw using Eevee render engine. So let's change to Eevee. Make sure you have Node Wrangler on, edit preferences, you can find it under add-ons. Delete everything in the scene, Shift A, add a curve, NURBS circle. Now move it on the x-axis, so GX1. Change the origin to 3D cursor and scale it up to 50, so S50. In the data properties, move the resolution all the way up to 64, geometry, under bevel, all the way up to 32 resolution, and depth 0.025. Now I'm gonna add a camera, so Shift A, add a camera, Shift Z to see it. Clear the rotation and rotate on the x-axis 90 degrees. Add in a constraint to the camera. Follow path. Click the eyedropper and the circle. It's gonna move it here. Click follow curve and change the forward axis to -y. Now you can see you can animate this, changing the offset. It goes from 0 to 100, so when it goes back to 100 it's same as the beginning. So we're gonna animate this starting from frame 0, not frame 1, going back to frame 0. Click here to add a keyframe. I'm gonna change here the end frame to 500. Go to frame 500, change the offset to 100 and add a keyframe. The reason I'm doing this on frame 0 and not frame 1, because if you have 500 and the first frame the same, it's not gonna be a perfect loop. So let's see the animation. You can see it slows down at the end and it starts slow. So I want it constant, so I'm gonna change to graph editor. Press A and the dot in the numpad to see everything. Right click, interpolation mode, change to linear. And now this is gonna be a constant speed of the camera. Adding a new window here, pressing 0 to see the camera view. And adding a shader editor. Clicking the curve, adding a new material. Shift A, I'm gonna add a wave texture. Control Shift click the wave texture and change the viewport shading to render, so you can see. This is what we have so far. I'm gonna change some of the values here, so scale 4, distortion 0.8, detail 20, detail scale 15. Shift A, add a Musgrave texture, drop it here. Change it to hetero terrain or something like that. Scale would be 7.6, detail 1.8, 45 dimension, and this thing 0.94. Shift A, add a color ramp. Dark value position would be at 0.2. Bright color, I'm gonna change it to 0.14 U, and saturation 0.85. I'm gonna click the plus button to add another flag here. Change the position to 0.9 and the values to 0.67, 0.9 saturation and 0.05 value. Now I'm gonna plug this into the emission. Control Shift click the principal BSDF. I'm gonna change the emission strength to 5, and in the world properties I'm gonna move the color all the way down to 0. Now moving to the Compositing tab, click Use Nodes. I'm gonna add a viewer node. Plug it in. Shift right mouse button click and drag to add a reroute. Click F12 to render an image. You can press V and Alt V to zoom in and out, and Alt and middle mouse button click, and then you can move the image. So I'm gonna Shift A, add glare, drop it here, change it to fog glow and just leave it like that. And I'm gonna add a motion blur a little bit with the shutter set at 0.3. We can press again F12 to see the difference, and if you click the glare node and pressing M, you can see the difference with and without. Moving back to the layout, this is what we have so far. Now I want to add a rotation to the camera, so clicking the camera, going back again to frame 0, adding a keyframe to the y-axis. You see, this is the axis that it's rotating on, so I want to roll it. So I'm going to leave it at 0, add a keyframe, go to the last, go to frame 500 and change it to 360, add a keyframe, and now you have a roll. Now one more thing I want to add is, now you see that it's cutting the frame a little bit, so I want to see more of this. So I'm going to change the focal length to 30. So this is it. I hope you liked it and learned something new. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out any future videos. Thanks for watching.